I'm Dennis Stone, and I'm standing in a structure we call the Pattee Chamber. The Pattee family were the first family to occupy this hilltop. Back in 1734, the Pattees bought a piece of this hilltop, and a little bit later they bought more land, and sometime after the 1750s we believe they built a house on top of this property in the area that I'm standing. The Pattees were 5 generations of shoemakers. There was a Seth Pattee, and then a Seth Jr., and then Jonathan. We talk a lot about Jonathan. He was a tax collector, he was a shoemaker by trade, and he also took in the town's poor people, the town paupers, before the town of Salem built a poor farm. Interesting enough, he also was an abolitionist. He helped the slaves as they came out of the South. They would pass to the north, and this is one of the Underground Railway stations. And there was a story about, from Wilbur Siebert's book, about the Underground of Massachusetts, a Mr. Hussey, a Mr. Poor, and a horse named Nellie from Shawsheen Village in Massachusetts, and they would come up here in the middle of the night, very quietly. They would bring slaves to the Pattee home, and they would stay here briefly for a day or two and then travel further north towards Canada for freedom. We did find a manacle on the site, and we also have a wall in the Pattee cellar hole that is disguised. And we think they did that intentionally to hide slaves behind this wall. And this is something that we just found out recently in the last year or two. And the Pattee family kept this land until about 1863 when it passed on to Nathaniel H. Paul, and he did a lot of lumbering on the hilltop. And then it goes back into the Pattee family briefly. And so the Pattees had a couple of centuries that they were on this hill.